James Acaster, a different type of comedian. So James Acaster, he's a comedian that I had never heard of until he was on a series of Taskmaster. If you haven't seen Taskmaster, it's with Greg Davies and Alex Horn, and it is brilliant. It's so funny. So if you haven't seen it, watch it. And James Acaster was one of these people that I had no idea who he was. Started watching him through the series, and he was so funny. He was so funny in a kind of an awkward, quirky sort of way. So let's have a look at one of his stand-up routines. Let's give it a go. He always wears the same sort of clothes. Brown, normally.
Yeah. What a good bunch. I just come back from the seaside. I went on my own. It was the best day. No answer to this guy. It was great. It was cheered me up. I just come out of a relationship. I miss her. So what? So what? I'm not going to act like I'm a tough guy. I miss her. So you don't realise how much you need something until it's gone, do you? Like your fingernails.
It's just so random. It's so random. It's brilliant. And it's that awkwardness. Wants you to feel sorry for him, but then doesn't.
You don't realise how much you need your fingernails until you cut your fingernails. Then that's the day you've got to put 4 new keys on a keyring.
Who's had that problem?
Have them loose in your pocket. Guess, it's not worth it. So I went to the seaside on my own to cheer myself up. Worst part of going to the seaside on your own, that would be the point where if you're there with a car full of people driving to the seaside, the best bit is when you see the sea for the first time. And you get to announce it to everyone else in the car. You point at it and you say, I can see the sea. And then they all look and go, confirmed.
It's just very mundane stuff that he can make funny, and that's what is brilliant about him. It's like the fingernails. How often have you, for example, just cut your fingernails and then you need to take a key off a key ring or put a key on, and you just can't.
I love saying I can see the sea. I was gutted I didn't get to say it. Because that's the only time you can say it, you know. When you see it. You can't go around boy cried wolf saying you can see the sea. Only time in your life you can say you can see the sea is when you can see the sea. Oh, that and like during an eye test.
When you're reading out the letters.
Quite nice. I got to the seaside. I was still feeling lonely. I wanted to cheer myself up, so I wanted to have a go on one of those pictures you put your head in, you know? You know pictures you put your head in, right? Yeah, you all know pictures you put your head in, right? Yeah? Yeah? You know pictures you put your head in. You might not. It's very hard to get it across to people what I mean, actually, when I say pictures you put your head in. It's real hard to get it across, because they've been around for a long time.
Do Americans have these pictures you can put your head in at the seaside?
Maybe you've even got a photo of yourself with your head in a picture you put your head in. You might own that photo, but it's hard to get it across what I mean when I say pictures you put your head in, because even though they've been around for ages, no one's got round to giving them a name yet. They haven't got a name. There's no name. I had to come up with pictures you put your head in myself.
It's so mundane stuff.
You know what I mean. Pictures you put your head in. Pictures you put your head in. They were invented in the olden times by an artist who couldn't do faces. Does that help you? Pictures you put your head in. You know what I'm talking about? They're the opposite of masks. Does that help anyone at all? Pictures you put your head in. Yeah.
That's relevant these days.
I knew you'd understand. I knew you'd know it. Same hymn sheet. There's one that was free. It was a kid's one. Little kid's one. Lower down. Head hole's still the same size as it is for adults. You make of that what you will. asking for trouble. It's the classic scene. You know the classic. There's a beach scene, a big fat lady with a stripy swimsuit, and a skinny guy with a knotted handkerchief on his head. I put my head in the lady.
It's just so awkward.
I know what's funny. I looked at that headless man and it hit me. And then I realised, what I realised was this. If you've got your head in a children's picture you put your head in for two, and you're on your own, and you're an adult, and you happen to be crying a little bit, it looks really peculiar if no one's taking your photograph. Eventually, I put my hand through the empty face hole and took a selfie.
God.
I needed to bother. Turns out, if you are crying on your own in a children's picture you put your head in, strangers will stop to take photos. A queue formed. I miss being a kid, man. I liked being a kid. Favourite part of being a kid was Christmas. Favourite part of Christmas was the Christingle service. What is a Christingle?
He said it because he knows no one has a clue what he's talking about. Gives that added confusion, which leads to more comedy.
I'll tell you. A Christingle, right, is an orange. It's got a red ribbon tied around it. And isn't that already weird? 2 steps in. I'm not even halfway through this description. That's an orange with a red ribbon. There's never any excuse to tie a red ribbon around an orange, is there? Unless you're going to fly somewhere on holiday, you want to check the orange in beforehand, so that when it comes round on that conveyor belt, you can tell it apart from all the other oranges.
Who does that?
You don't want to go home with a satsuma, or God forbid a clementine. Orange, got a red ribbon tied around it. And then 4 cocktail sticks stuck in the top of the orange. And then you skewer raisins and dolly mixtures onto those. And then you get a long thin candle, drive that into the top of the orange, and you light it. And then a small child carries that down the aisle of the church on Christmas Eve, and nobody questions it. Side note, if I'm ever in a food fight, Christingle, weapon of choice. A lot going on there, spikes and fire. Best of luck with your custard pie. Food fights only happen in films. That's because in real life, if you throw mashed potato in someone's face, they rarely respond in kind. You deserve everything you get.
He's just... I've seen some others of his, and it's that, like I said, it's that awkwardness and the random mundane things that he can talk about. But he makes the faces, he makes those funny faces as well after he says stuff. Like he knows no one has a clue what he's talking about. But that just adds to the comedy, and it's brilliant. And he always dresses, like I said, he always dresses the same. He always has brown cords on, brown shoes on, very not dressing in keeping with his generation, shall I say, if that sounds right. And it adds to the effect. It adds to the effect that he's a bit weird. He's a bit strange. As I said at the start, if you haven't seen Taskmaster, make sure you give it a watch because that's brilliant. I highly recommend James Acaster. He did some Netflix series where he did stand up. Take a look at that as well. Let me know your thoughts, guys. If there's any other comedians that you think I should watch, maybe some that I probably wouldn't have heard of, maybe, if you can think of any, let me know in the comments below. Don't forget, like, share and subscribe, and I will see you next time.